Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to European Truck Simulator, and welcome back to Stockholm. So it is early morning, 2 a.m. It's just how things worked out. So we need to, what do we need to do? We need to find a cargo, and we're trying to make our way west. Yeah, we're trying to make our way west to Bergen. Are we not? We are. And let's see how this goes. Oslo, that's on the way, definitely on the way, and I think that's kind of a haul too. 498 kilometers, that's a good trip. Let's take that one, and it pays well too, 13 grand, and that may give us enough points to level up to level, I don't know, whatever. Wipers off, I said. Lights on. Top in cab, let's do it. So we're going right around the corner. Brake off, put her in gear. Here we go. We're going right around the corner. And we'll get these coils loaded up, metal coils. Can we get out this way? That looks like an exit. So the game has patched up again, and I think, well, on the ATS side, I think we're very close to coming out of public beta for 1.32 because Oregon is going to drop in just a couple days, and I believe they were waiting for the DLC to be, not the DLC, the patch. They were waiting for the patch to be done before they were going to release the DLC, and it looks like that's about to happen. So good on that, happy about that. And then on the ETS side, I think we're right behind. I haven't seen a release date for Beyond the Baltic Sea, but I think it's a similar process. And I think when 1.32, and we're up to like, I think it's at 1.32.3.4, maybe, is where we're at for the status of 1.32 on the ETS side. But when this comes out of beta and goes public, then we will... Are we in the right place? I think we are. Then we'll get Beyond the Baltic Sea, and shortly after that we will also get going to Oslo. Yep. Am I saying it right? Oslo? Oslo. You say Oslo? You say Oslo. So that will be followed shortly after by Pro Mods. I hope. And I think it may actually almost be done already. They're just waiting for it to be official. Pro Mods, I mean. Man, I don't know. I'm running those, the Borman LED. Borman and Hella, I want to say. Let's see if I can get this in there in one swing. It is Europe, so I suspect this is a steering axle trailer. But it may take two swings. I've been struggling with this lately. I don't know why. I feel like I was better at it. I feel like I was better at it back in the day, and I've lost my whatever. But you know what? We persevere. We persevere. I think we might get it. So yeah, excited about all that. Excited to be back in the 4 Series. We were in our next gen for many trips. Oh, no, it's not going to give it to me. That's on me. That's on me. Guilty. Guilty. I don't know. I had it, and now I don't have it anymore. So it goes. But those Borman lights that we have on our low bar, I don't know. I feel like I'm not running any other... I'm not running like RGM or anything. So I don't know why the Corona, not the Corona, but why the throw on those low lights on the low bar is so bright and also simultaneously kind of unrealistic. You know, that it's just those bright cones of light. Not a fan. I like the lights, I just don't like those cones. So, let's get loaded up. There we go. And these are heavy, aren't they? I want to say these are heavy. 23 tons. I mean, they're not light. Not light. Okay. Start her up. Brake off. Here we go. We just slept. We need to get fuel, I think. How do we get out of here? We need to get fuel on the way out of town. But I think other than that, we're just going to drive across Sweden and into Norway. The sun's going to be coming up. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. I think. I hope. And let's check as we go past the light. Confirm that we did. Yep. We did put our lift axle down. Good for us. And I saw also, well, I've been seeing a lot of updates for the Jazzy Cat packs. And, you know, those are some of my favorite mods to run. So I'm stoked about that. Got those all going. Now, when we first came into 1.32, you may remember me saying that I had actually wanted to go with an MP3, Mercedes MP3 mod pack by Mr. Capital. And Mercedes is a truck that I haven't really run historically, other than the Antos, which I suspect is kind of gone forever. I haven't seen much of it for 1.32, and I think maybe it's not going to be updated. I know I don't want to call it drama, but I know the original mod maker handed it off to someone else, and I don't know if the person they handed it off to is going to be able to maintain it. I don't know. I just go by what I read on the forums. But it doesn't seem to be available for 1.32. So that Mercedes I did drive, but I really haven't spent a lot of time in the MP3 or the MP4. But then I saw that big MP3 pack by Mr. Capital, and it's just an MP3, but it's sort of like what RJL has done with the Scania, with the top line, right? It's just kind of a basic truck, but then they've really made it something kind of amazing. That's what Mr. Capital's done with the MP3, and I was really excited to drive that in 1.32, and then immediately it broke. The 1.32 patch broke it, which is, you know, it happens. But that is back, and I've tested it a couple times just in the browser, the truck browser. I haven't tried to buy one yet, but that will be, I think, what we do, because we're going to have garage slots when we buy this garage in Bergen. We're going to have slots so we can buy another truck and put another driver to work. And I think that MP3, the Mr. Capital MP3, is going to be what we go with, and we may go with a rigid. Haven't decided yet. I saw a bunch of the cast stuff has updated, but it's not for sale in the trailer dealership yet. You can't buy all the cast trailers. You can buy the Kraker, I think, is the first one that he brought in. I think because that Kraker pack, oh dear, yep, that Kraker pack just kind of showed up at the trailer dealership, and I don't think it's a DLC. It's right in between, because I know the Krona is a DLC, and I know the Obolinio stuff is a mod, but I feel like that Kraker stuff is just unknown at this point. I strongly suspect that it is cast, but that's the only one of his that I've seen in there. Now it would follow that in time his NTM trailers and his Ikari trailers and all the rest would show up in there. The VAK B slider, everything would show up in there as buyable, but it's just not there yet. But I'm looking forward to seeing all the trailers that are for sale, and I suspect that it may end up that we have more options for trailers to buy than we do for trucks, if that makes sense. I think it could go that way, and I would be pleased if it did, because I feel like that's more realistic. I feel like a hauling company like ours, because trailers, well, they should be a lot less expensive than trucks, but in this game, I feel like as they're adjusting the economy, the trailers are just about as expensive as the trucks. I've seen trailers for over 100,000 euro, and trucks are over 100,000 euros. So it's not, I would suspect and maybe I'm wrong about this, like in real life the numbers are different, but I would suspect that if a truck is 200,000 euro, a trailer would be like 50 to 75,000 euro. But what do I know? I'm just some guy. So I believe we're going to see more and more trailers populate into the trailer dealer, and I think the cast stuff, as tight as he is on his mods and as detailed as they are, and as obviously like gifted a modder and coder as he is, I have to think that all the cast stuff is eventually going to make its way into the trailer dealership. Looking forward to that. The Jazzy Cat stuff has all updated, I think, even a couple of times per pack since last week, since the last time we recorded. So that is all going on. And also we are now running the Grimes autumn weather, and we'll see that when the sun comes up. Can't really see it right now, but I figured we're close enough to October 1st, and October 1st to me is the beginning of autumn. Like, even though it's very warm where I am and summer lasts like, well, sometimes it lasts all winter, it never really gets cold down here, but I feel like by the time you get around to October 1st, you're getting close to, should have got fuel there. By the time you get to October 1st, you're getting into autumn. So I went ahead and got the autumn weather pack, and I think all the Grimes stuff is updating for 1.32. The first one I saw was summer, and I want to say I've seen a couple others on his page. It is WordPress. You'll see, I believe he links his stuff, like he lists his stuff on some of the oh, interesting. Okay, I was not expecting that. He lists his stuff on some of the dodgy sites, but then to download it, you go to his WordPress page, and then from there, it takes you to just some of the regular download sites, Uploaded or whatever. But yeah, Grimes, if you go to a search engine, type in ETS2 Grimes mods, it'll take you to his WordPress page, and you can like get the links directly from him, so you know it's legit. You're not being like jacked and sent to some virus site. But yeah, good stuff, and we'll see when the sun comes up what autumn looks like in 1.32. Still running not as fast as I'd like. We're about 45 FPS. Looks good. You know, I always want to be at 60. I'm always chasing 60. But for the minute, we're looking pretty good. We do have lights on, and my settings are high but not ultra. So I know we could pick up a few FPS if we backed off some of those settings. I just don't want to. You know, it's always looking for that sweet spot, and I feel like as long as we're north of about 40 to 45, which is actually where we are right now, but as long as we're north of 40 to 45, I guess most of the time, that works for me. And you know what, in daylight, when we turn off the lights, it'll jump up to 60, and if we were to drive through a city at night, it would drop down to 30, but it always stays green. That's my thing. I've got the way my FPS counter is configured. When it goes below 30, it turns yellow. When it goes below 20, it turns red. So as long as it stays above 30, it stays green, and I'm happy. And it looks good. I think it does. I mean, if you're running i9 and what is the new one? The RTX 2070, 2080? You know what I mean. If you're running some like weaponized gaming system, then of course the idea of 60 FPS is like, oh, you know, but it is what it is. Run what you brung. And what I brung is my i7-70-700 and a 1050 card. And it's, went through there a little faster than I wanted to. Really glad we didn't scrape. And here's some fuel. So we'll get this rig filled up. And the sun is going to be coming up right about now, so we'll get to see autumn weather and what that looks like. Get my head turned around here. And I believe, yeah, it's only 5 hours to get there, game time, so we won't need to sleep. because we just woke up. So we'll be able to drive all day. Right about there. Oh, kind of a sudden stop. You'll have that. Set the brake, lights off, shutter down. Let's get some fuel. And while we're fueling up here, I'm going to hit the vape. Timing. Brake off, put her in gear, here we go. Are my lights on? Can hardly tell. So we've got the, we've got the halogen, is it halogen? Yeah. LED, I don't know. We've got some kind of a light mod, headlight mod, but it only applies to base game trucks. So, and I think that's probably, like, I'll take it, because this truck, this 4 Series would likely not have LED lights unless they were some kind of aftermarket add-on. It's an old enough truck that it would be probably running halogen or HID or something. Probably recent enough that it wouldn't be running incandescent or anything, sealed beam, but you know what I mean. So I guess it's okay that we don't have the LED halogen lighting effect on this truck, but it's still a little bit weird to have when you're used to that bright, like brighter than the sun, bright white with the crisp cutoff. It's weird to see the slightly more dim lighting that you get from older light systems. But you know what? We're all about realism here. All about realism, so we'll take it. Set the cruise control. And here we go. So yeah, man, I'm stoked about trailers. I really didn't think I would be. And instead, it's turned out to be one of my favorite updates to this game. I think I'm happier about buyable trailers than I am about special transport. Special transport, well, I mean, you see how many special transport jobs we do. Really not very many. Now, part of that is we've had to rebuild our profile several times, and when we rebuild our profile, we end up with sort of starting over trucks. 4x2, smaller motors, not something you would necessarily haul a heavy cargo with. Like I don't know, other than when we started 8 months ago in 1.30 and got up to I think we took a Scania 4-axle up into Scandinavia. But for the most part, we've been in smaller, less powerful trucks that really aren't suited to special transport. So you see what I'm getting at? Like, we don't haul those jobs because we really can't. But even, I mean, we could park this truck and just take contract jobs for special transport. It just never really did it for me. It's fun, it's a novelty to do every now and then, but it never really did it for me. So I was very excited about special transport, and then I felt maybe almost disappointed. I wasn't very excited about buyable trailers, and instead it's become like a really cool thing in the game for me. So yeah, funny how this game surprises you. Or, I don't know, maybe it's not, maybe it doesn't surprise you at all, but it's always surprising me. And I'm really looking forward to Beyond the Baltic Sea. Now, I assume Beyond the Baltic Sea will be out before Pro Mods, but maybe not. And if it's not, then, slow down. If it's not, if Pro Mods comes out first, I have a bit of a dilemma. And my dilemma is, sir, you are a very helpful citizen, thank you. And my dilemma is this. I would like to get Beyond the Baltic Sea up and running before I add Pro Mods, because it's an SCS DLC. I'd like to get it up and running, take a look at it, confirm that everything is working properly, and then bring in Pro Mods. And because I don't want to do both and risk losing my profile, I mean, I wouldn't lose it, you know what I mean? I have my profile backed up, but if it requires us to start again, there have been times when I've installed Pro Mods I've started a profile on base map with DLC, and then I've installed pro mods, and everything worked fine. And I've also done the reverse. I've pulled pro mods out of a profile and had everything hold together. And it's like, it's going to sound weird when I say it, but I think you'll get it. If you make a big change like that in your profile, it's like if you can get it to start the next time, if you can get a couple auto saves in there, it's like it's okay. It's written correctly now. Your profile is written correctly to the save game, and you're okay. If you can get it to start that one time. If you can't get it to start that one time, then it's like very often your profile is just wrecked. You can go back to your save copy, but right, you're not going to be able to make it work. But then, and sometimes that does happen, but then other times you are able to. And this, by the way, this autumn weather looks awesome. Look at this fog and the way he stripped some of the leaves off the trees. They're not bare, but they're just starting to lose their leaves. It's a little more kind of, you know what I mean? Kind of Halloween looking. This is beautiful. I love this sim. So what I'm saying is I would rather, I know because we're running base game with DLC right now, and mods, but not pro mods. If we add the Beyond the Baltic Sea DLC, I am 100% confident that the game will start right up in this profile and everything will be fine. I'm not as confident about pro mods. It's possible we'll be able to just keep the same profile going, but it's not guaranteed. So I think if I had a choice between the two, or if they come out on the same day, I think I would rather get Beyond the Baltic Sea running. You know what I mean? Make sure everything is smooth and beautiful, and then later bring in pro mods rather than the other way around. So we'll see. We've got a little while on both. I haven't gotten a notification from pro mods, and they send me, I'm on their list, so like I've signed up for the email, so they email me when a new version is available. I haven't heard from them yet, and there's not even a date on Beyond the Baltic Sea. Oregon for ATS is October 4th. Speeding. Oregon is October 4th, so like I said, I anticipate Beyond the Baltic Sea will be sometime in November. I don't know. We'll see. But in the meantime, man, loading scenery. Loading more scenery. And you do know, it's been weeks and weeks and weeks now since we've had one of those lag spikes. And I know it was coming from Shadowplay, but I don't know what's happened. I don't know if it's graphics drivers updated. I don't know if it's Shadowplay itself that updated, or I know there were some changes made to the way ETS and ATS render when they went to 1.32. But the reason I mention it is because we've had like half a dozen of those little skips in the past minute. And typically, when I was having lag spikes, there'd be one of those little skips, but it would last for like 8 seconds and just make me crazy. But I think we're over the hump on that, so to speak. I think we're not going to have that problem anymore. And where I am right now, there's a Best Buy right across the street. Is Best Buy exclusively American, or are they in Europe at all? I don't know. But Best Buy, if you're not familiar with it, great big electronics chain. It's mostly on the consumer side. Honestly, they don't have a lot of, I mean, it's not Fry's. I don't know if you know what Fry's is, but like you can go into Fry's. You could build a space station in Fry's with the parts that they have, like in stock all the time. It's like Newegg or Tiger Direct, but it's a store you can walk into. It's crazy. That's a West Coast thing. They're all over California. There's one in Atlanta that I've been to, but it's not an East Coast thing. But there is Best Buy. Now, Best Buy, like I said, it is more on the consumer side. They don't have a lot of super high-end stuff. But they surprise you with things that they have in stock. You just walk in and pick one off the shelf. And the one right across the street from where I'm staying right now has the Elgato HD60 in stock right now. And I have debated just getting the Elgato and being done with it, you know, and just capturing everything off of HDMI. Yeah, we're loading scenery, because every time it does that, it drops down to like 10 or 15 FPS and just holds there for like half a second. So I think that's what's going on. I think. Awfully worried right now. Very nervous. Frame rate is low, and we keep we keep loading. But we're doing, wow, this is gorgeous. Are you seeing this? Look at that, man. Holy smokes. That's beautiful. With the sunrise. In fact, sir. In fact, let's do that. And then let's very carefully come right over here. There we go. Just screenshotting my way into a ticket. So yeah, I've thought about just going and getting Elgato and being done with it and recording straight off of HDMI. And as I understand it, that is like zero load on your graphics card because it's not capturing anything internally. All your capture is occurring outside the system. So it's like, you know, if you put a bigger monitor on the other end of an HDMI cable, HDMI. Yeah, did I say that right? If you put like a giant 4K TV on the other end of your HDMI cable, it doesn't affect anything that happens internally because it's just signal leaving that's already been rendered, encoded, whatever. So as I understand it, Elgato not only has no impact on your system, but it like unloads some functions from your system because you don't have to capture anymore internally. So I've thought about just going and getting Elgato. Not quite ready to pull the trigger on that yet. Some other things I need first. But that's definitely in the works, and I'm hoping, man, I just want to be 4K. That's it. Now I'm told YouTube can stream 4K, but only at 60 FPS. So there's no reason to go 4K 120 FPS. It'll get there. As I understand it, YouTube isn't bothering with that right now because most monitors can't refresh at 120 hertz. So there's no reason to do that. But I believe it'll get there in time, another couple of years. But for now, if I could get up to 4K 60 FPS, I'd be stoked. The machine that I'm on right now can't even render at 4K, but the next one that I'm getting will be able to. So that's where we'll go next, is 4K, at least 60 FPS, in time more. Well, the capture will be 60 FPS. I'm hoping I can render over that. But we'll see. I don't know. Everything's open-ended. I'm just brainstorming, thinking about what I want to do next. Man, when I first started playing this game, when I got ETS and I got immediately got the DLC that were available, and it was Going East, and at the time it was just Going East in Scandinavia. But I got those, and I remember the first time I came up into Scandinavia, these roads where it's like 2 lanes down to 1, back to 2, back to 1, and you end up with the narrow lane with the guardrail, like we just went through. In fact, we're going to come up to it again right here, I think. Yeah, see, we've got 2 lanes, and then the opposing traffic has the 1. Over there in that other lane, the single lane, like the one we just drove up. I remember the first time I saw that and how gripped I was, like, oh. And learning to drive the truck and just pinballing back and forth between that guardrail. And I want to say, like, these little pylons over out beyond the fog stripe on the right side of the road. In the US, those would be a hard plastic. And if you hit them, like, you would definitely know that you hit them. Like, it would make a huge sound, and you'd feel it. But they fold over. They're designed to fold over. And in this game, if you hit those, it's like hitting a stone wall. You just stop and take massive damage. So I would just pinball back and forth between the guardrail and those pylons when I was learning to drive. As you can see, I don't have that problem anymore. At least not too often. But yeah, man, it was so intimidating the first time I drove up into Scandinavia. And I think that's one of the reasons I like it so much up here, is I feel like this is one of the prettier and also one of the more challenging places to drive on the map. Probably here, I think the Alps can be tricky, like down around Munich and getting into Switzerland and Austria, where some of the really super twisty, super steep roads we have got. It's quite a hill. Quite a hill. I was not, didn't see this coming, I have to say. We're gonna be all right. So yeah, man, everything about this game I just love, and I feel like the AI is getting better. Every episode. Every time I record, every patch, I feel like the AI is getting better. So good on SCS, because I know that was one of my biggest complaints. A lot of other people too, I think. You hear a lot of talk about the AI and how it needs to be improved. Cool. So crossing into Norway, and we don't have too far to go. Just another few minutes, and we will be in. Still good on. Oh dear. Still good on fuel. Yep. Still good on fuel. So we'll get into Oslo. And then from there, hopefully we can, I'll take a look when we get in. We won't necessarily pick it up and drive it, but I'll take a look when we get in and see if we will be able to get a cargo going to Bergen. And you know what would be funny? Is if I did start pinballing off these guardrails. Bumpy road, and this is all base game. It's, I don't know, I guess because I'm sort of used to Pro Mods. You know, it's Pro Mods has so much more variation, I think, than base game. You forget, or I forget, base game has quite a bit of variation too. There's a lot of detail that Pro Mods kind of overshadows, and you forget that even without Pro Mods, this can be a really immersive game. And I think oh yeah, I think it is Oslo. Wow. Okay, so you want to see a FPS drop. Wait till we get into Oslo, because this is like this big, like, it looks like spaghetti when you get close to it. Just the way the roads all loop back and forth over each other, and there's like bridges and tunnels, and you go into a tunnel and then you come out of the other end of it, and you're over a fjord and immediately on a bridge, and just tons of complexity and detail. Right. So we're going here. So we'll stay to the left. Okay. Stay to the left. Now we're good. I was just thinking about early days, months and months ago when we were recording, when we went down to Bilbao and, is it Madrid? What's the other city? Bilbao and Barcelona, I think. I keep my trailer stability turned down very low, so I gotta be super careful not to flip a trailer. Bilbao and Barcelona, and how it like totally beat up our frame rate to the point where it was like not unplayable, but it was pretty bad. And we're actually holding together up here now. Bilbao and Barcelona are both Pro Mods, and I want to say particularly Bilbao. I've read on some of the Pro Mods forums that I guess that was like built to an older standard, or it wasn't optimized or something. There's some reason that, I mean, it's got an unbelievable level of detail, both those cities do, but I want to say there was another reason, like I guess a more technical reason, that it was built to a different standard, but because there's so much detail, they're not going to rebuild it or something. I don't know. But I feel like you definitely want to be running a supercomputer if you try to drive down to Bilbao with your settings on ultra. I can't imagine what that would do to my machine. It would quit. It would just tell me like, sorry buddy, I'm I don't want to be a gaming laptop anymore. I'm done. I can't do it. Well, right on. We're in Oslo. You say Oslo? You say Oslo. I say Oslo. Making our turn. You know, next episode I may run with no weather at all because I feel like, I mean, I was waiting for FPS to pick up a little bit when we turned off the lights, but it really didn't. So next episode I may run no weather at all to see what that's doing to us as far as both load times and frame rate. It's not bad. It's just, it's probably 70 to 80% of what I would anticipate having. And then off camera I will also, well, I want to drive over to the shop and just do some basic maintenance. Where are we going here? Is it this one? Is it this one? I think it is this one. Just regular maintenance on the truck. So I am going to need to drive around a little bit. Oh, there it is. And when I do, I'll try to get all the discoverables that are up here. So. Right. Here's the beeper. Sorry. Beep, beep, beep. Right. Man, I don't know what it is. It's like I just lost my mojo. I gotta straighten this out. That's no good. There we go, that's better. Uh-huh. Alright. Well, then we'll just really straighten it out. Alright. So you're getting... Not you. I mean... The yard. The depot. I'll take a couple swings at it, but I'm not gonna... You know what I'm saying? Now, are we gonna level up? No. Still got a ways to go. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of European Truck Simulator. We'll see you next time. Take care now.